And welcome to part 2. This is part 2 where I'm going to be reviewing this bad boy, the film The Crow, which was based on the graphic novel The Crow. If you've watched part 1, you know the story of The Crow. It follows Eric. I'm not going to repeat myself. If you want to know the story, it's basically the same as the graphic novel, basically, with minor changes to certain scenes that actually add to the film. Now, when it comes to graphic novel or comic book adaptations, they normally do fair 50-50. It's a 50-50 gamble, in my opinion, when it comes to them. They either work out really well or they fail miserably. And in recent years they have been succeeding, but in earlier years they didn't do too well, in my opinion. There were some other ones that were very badly done, and most people only recognise the big names like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man and all that. This is definitely a darker version of that. I'll say Batman, oh damn. But this is really just a graphic novel adaptation. This isn't really a superhero movie. It's more of a supernatural horror. It's more. Some people say it's a horror film. I'm inclined to disagree. I think it was more of like a gothic graphic novel movie. It's definitely got this. It's the similar style to the novel, to the graphic novel, in my opinion. What the movie succeeds in as an adaptation, it succeeds in very well. Not only does it help to recreate the tone of the graphic novel, but it also helps to recreate the atmosphere as well, with the artistic style, to the costumes, to the script, to the music selection. Like, music isn't really in a graphic novel, but in a movie, the music is a major part. And they get a good mix of like band music. I can't remember a lot of the soundtrack, to be honest, but the music does complement the movie very well. As an adaptation, in my opinion, The Crow actually succeeds where a lot of them fail. It only takes liberties with the source material when it has to make sense for a movie aspect, because a movie is completely different from a graphic novel. You take the source material of a graphic novel and you adapt it to a movie, making subtle changes or sometimes drastic changes. The Crow, the movie, actually doesn't makes only a couple of drastic changes, but the drastic changes actually fit better as a movie, in my opinion. Unless you're a hardcore fan of the graphic novel, you're going to hate this. But in my opinion, the graphic novel, the adaptation is very well done, in my opinion. It's definitely very not gory, but definitely a lot of blood in it, a lot of action scenes, and a lot of violence, and also swearing on occasions, and also use of other narcotics as well is quite present. The movie successfully recreates the tone of The Crow, the graphic novel, in my opinion. It's very well done. So as an adaptation, The Crow is actually a fantastic one, and Brandon Lee is not only great in the action scenes, he's also a great actor, in my opinion. Not fantastic. I think if he had lived, he could have improved his skills and probably been an Oscar nominee, in my opinion, if he if his career had continued, unfortunately, due to his tragic passing. But I'm talking too much about adaptation, but in my opinion, I'll give you, a lot of people want to know, is The Crow a good adaptation? In my opinion, The Crow is actually a great adaptation. It's the way an adaptation should be done. Recreating the tone, the atmosphere, and as much as keeping as close to the source material as possible, but only taking liberties where it makes sense. And that's what I think is very important. You have to take liberties where it makes sense, because a lot of scenes that are in The Crow, the graphic novel, would not really make sense in a movie aesthetic. And in my opinion, they did make the changes that were necessary, and they did them exceptionally. One or two minor problems I have, just a couple of wee issues, but nothing major as an adaptation. As an adaptation, it's actually absolutely fantastic. But how does it stand as a movie? I'll happily admit, The Crow is not the greatest movie in the world, but it is a very good movie, in my opinion. It's definitely a movie, I think, if I was old enough when it first came out. I think it came out. When did it come out? 1992. I think it came out in 92. That was the year I was born. If I had been born earlier and I was old enough to go and see this, I probably would have gone and seen this in the film, in the pictures. But in my opinion, this is actually a very good film. In my opinion, it not only as it does do a lot of things right, in my opinion. As a movie, it does do some minor problems. Not a great film, and it's not an absolutely fantastic Oscar performing movie, in my opinion, but it definitely is a great film, and a definitely good action film for you to watch, but also a great slightly horror-ish. I don't like calling it a horror, because in my opinion it isn't really a horror, but it definitely does get the right atmosphere around. If you're into the gothic films, this is definitely a film you want. Basically, this is like the only comparison I can come close to is Blade. but better. Even though the Blade films are good, this is definitely a great movie in my opinion, and definitely worth every penny. Maybe you can get it reasonably cheap. You can get it for like £9 on Blu-ray nowadays. I don't have my copy with me at the moment. It's up in my grand's. But as a movie, it does have problems. There are some minor problems that I do have with a couple of wee artistic choices that I didn't like. A couple of minor issues, like I think they used a little too much. Even though I like the music in the movie, I think they used a little too much band music. I really would have think it would have made more sense to use more original music for the movie instead of using a lot of band music, because there is a lot of band music in this movie for the time anyway, and also it's very emo and gothic bands that do play in the background, which is okay. It adds to the atmosphere and it does the job that it's meant to do, and there are some really good bands in this. I just can't remember any of the names off the top of my head. And I'm even sure if Evanescence had been around, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure if Evanescence was around when The Crow was made, I'm pretty sure that a few Evanescence songs would have made it in there. But it definitely does its job. I just kind of wish they had more original music for it, but at the same time it does have the right mix of original music and also band music, licensed basically, and I think it does very well. There are some hit or miss performances in some cases, and it does dip a little bit into the cheesy cliche towards the end, especially with the main villain. I don't want to spoil too much of him. He's definitely different in my opinion from the one from the graphic novel, which is okay for a movie. It does it really well. Does a good performance as the villain. I can't remember the actor who plays him, but he does give a good performance, but he does go a little too far sometimes. It does get a wee bit too cliche towards the end, but at the same time it still continues on and does well and makes sense in my opinion. And definitely a good movie in my opinion, and definitely a great movie to pick up and watch. And definitely if you're a fan of gothic movies, it's definitely a must watch. Probably everyone has seen this film, but I don't want to spoil anything in my opinion, because I do spoiler-free reviews. That's my thing. But definitely in my opinion it's really well done as a movie, and in my opinion the answer to the question, is it worth it or not, in my opinion, if you're into gothic movies, it's definitely worth every penny, and even if you're not, it's definitely a great action one. I would still not recommend it for kids, even though when I watched it when I was a kid. I would highly recommend that you do check it out, and it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it before. Now, of course, there's the question that is on everyone's lips, and I think I've answered it, but I'll answer it again. Is the Crow, what one do I prefer? Do I prefer the Crow graphic novel, or do I prefer the movie? If I'm going to be honest, I can't choose between the two of them. As a graphic novel, The Crow is fantastic. As a movie, it is great and very well done, and definitely better than a lot of other adaptation movies that have came out in recent years. Batman, Robin. Also a few others as well. Spider-Man 3. But definitely a really great movie in my opinion. I can't really choose which one is better. I saw the movie first and then I read the graphic novel, so the movie has a little bit of a higher praise for me than the graphic novel, but at the same time I can't take anything away from the graphic novel. If I had to say in order of what you should do, I would definitely say read the graphic novel first and then see the movie, but I would not say you had to do both. You can see either one and you'll get the story just right, but in my recommendations, read the graphic novel and then see the movie in my opinion. The movie is actually on YouTube, I believe. Just search it and it's up. They haven't taken it down. It's been up for about a year and a half now. I'm not linking it because I know I do it, but definitely check out the movie. It's a really good movie, and also if you can pick up the graphic novel, I think you can get it for a reasonably decent price nowadays. I think on Amazon it's around about £16, £15 give or take. I'll also leave a link to the American one if you want to buy it on there. But definitely the movie and the graphic novel really are great ones in my opinion, and I can't pick between them. I would read this anytime and I'd watch this anytime. Definitely both get major praise from me, and in my opinion this is how an adaptation should be done, as The Crow represents. So thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what your thoughts are of the Crow movie and also the Crow graphic novel if you've read it. Positive or negative reviews, put them in the description, comment down below and tell me what you think. If you want to do a video response, that's always nice, and give me your honest opinion. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want, there is a button somewhere up above my head that I think says subscribe, that you can follow me and catch up with all my latest videos. If not got a problem with you. But thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. Ciao for now. Mwah.